You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Well, happy Monday.
How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good. I actually got some sleep.
Good.
Played some video games last night.
Ooh, I'm eager to know what those are.
I don't have to work tonight, so it's a good day. You know, how you wake up and go, I don't have to do that today. It just makes the whole day just feel so much better. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is.
I can understand it.
Have to go there.
I was actually thinking about that this morning, is how you can tell the day it is. Like when I know it's a weekend, for some reason you can just stand outside and you're like, yeah, it's a weekend. I know that. But if you're off of work during the week, this is for me personally. I don't know how it is for you, but a day that you know you're supposed to be at work, something about the day just feels off. Like you know you're not supposed to be home, but you are. And you're just like, yeah, I should be at work right now, but I'm not.
I know, or you keep thinking, like, should I check my schedule again? Like, did I mess up? Like, am I supposed to be? I don't know. Yeah.
It feels weird, but it's also freeing in some ways. So I get it. So what
I end up wasting those days. Yeah. Or I'm like, well, I mean, I was supposed to be doing this, so really and truly, the universe isn't off if I do nothing, right?
Right. So what have you been playing?
I finished Not Tonight, or one scenario, which is that Papers, Please-esque type game that I think I've probably mentioned a little bit off and on here, where you're in the middle of Brexit happening and you're from somewhere, like they'll give you a name, you get like 5 or so different people that you could choose from to play as you go through, and you're from there, but somehow your stuff gets mixed up where they're like, you're actually a Euro, you're not from here kind of situation, so now you have to be a doorman, like a bouncer. And I know I didn't do everything correctly. I actually had to look some stuff up just because I couldn't understand what I was supposed to do. So I didn't quite join the resistance as much as I thought I was, because like I missed a couple of things that I didn't know I had to do. But first playthrough jitters, you know, and there wasn't like some huge, big, mind-blowing ending. You know, it's just like, here's what happened after the year was up and so on and so forth. It was like a predecessor to whatever happened in the beginning of the game. So that's fun. I'm going to start another playthrough because I want to see, you know, if I can actually get those couple of pieces. And then who knows, if I feel like it, try the other way where I'm just like gung-ho the government instead of trying to resist, and see if that actually changes anything. But that's a fun little game. I recommend it. And I started playing Wilson's Heart, which was another scary VR game. But not really. Like, so I had it built up in my head it was going to be so much worse than it was. But it's such a cool game that I'm really kind of upset that I kept hemming and hawing about starting it. Because I was like, well, it's going to be scary. I don't know. But it's so cool. It's a fun little game. I recommend it.
Wilson's Heart.
It's more like a little like point and click. Oh my God, it's such tomfoolery. It's ridiculous. And I love it. I mean, there's like a couple little jump scares, but like all in all, it's not really that scary. I actually think Chair in a Room Greenwater was probably more scary than what I'm playing now. And I honestly thought it was going to be reversed. Like I thought Wilson's Heart was going to be more so. I haven't finished it yet. I have a feeling I will today. Like I can't imagine it being much more than like 8 or 9 hours, but I can let you know. But if you see that one on sale so far, I totally recommend it. Now I'm playing it on PC. So I don't know if it's on PS4 or not. I want to say no. I feel like it's an Oculus Store game, but
sure.
I didn't look before today, but yeah, it's fun. They just do like this black and white aesthetic to the whole game, and you're trying to follow this mystery that's happening surrounding you being put in this like hospital. So you got your medical bracelet on, and the only thing that I would complain about is the movement. And I think it's another earlier game. It's like, as you look around, you'll see, let's call it a silhouette, but it's lit up of you. So when you see, like, when you're looking around the room, you'll see like a little silhouette person pop up where you're allowed to move. And then you click the button on the controller once you look in the correct direction. And it'll darken to let you know that it's there, that you've been there before, or if it's lit up, you haven't been there before. So it's a little bit of a pain because sometimes you find yourself having to crank your head like all the way around to look behind you instead of just having like a snap turn feature. But so far, that's the only kind of complaint that I have. So
Okay.
a lot of fun. It's actually tomfoolery, and I think I love it.
Right.
The dumber, the better, in a good way, though. In a good way. And that's, I think, is all I've been playing this week.
Okay.
Kind of dedicated my time to that, so it's been fun. How about you?
Still Gravity Rush 2. I'm just trying to get through that, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time I played it. I can't remember, but the world opened up a lot for me since the last time I played it, to where it seemed like you were in this one section, and then I thought you were just going to be mining for gems, which helps you power up, and then I actually got to the first city that you get to explore, and oh my God, is it massive.
Yeah.
Like, compared to the last city that you actually got to play in, this is like 3 times the size of it, because not only do you have sections of the city that you can go to, like separate sections that are almost like class based, because you have your middle class section, you have your higher class section, then you have your lower class section, and they all have different lives and everything that you have to, I'm sure, play into the story a lot more than I've gotten into yet, but it's all in tiers. So like Gravity Rush, you can go up and you can go down, and that's where you find your class systems. But it's just, there's so much of it, and like in the other game, you can find hidden gems all around the city. You can go to the top of buildings, you'll find some. You can go underneath the city and you find them. And I'm always looking for them, and every time I thought I got all the gems in one area, I turn my head and then there's 10 times more, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to get them all. So I just get in this obsession of like trying to make sure I get every single gem, because the gems, again, they power you up. That's to help boost your skills and stuff like that, and that's what you want to do. But I'm not complaining. It's overwhelming how massive this city is, because you're like, oh my goodness, it's just so much. So it got really interesting. I'm eager to see how the story's going to play out. I'm not quite sure how many chapters there are, and I feel like maybe I'm halfway through, I want to say, because I feel like I read 13 chapters, but I could be wrong. And I think I was on chapter 5 or 6. So I'm getting there. There.
Roughly, yeah.
But hopefully I'll get some time to play it this weekend if possible, but we'll see. So I don't know, but it's been fun. I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like I've gotten. It was like riding a bike, as they say. You start playing, and you just feel like, oh yeah, I remember how this works, and you just float around. I love the mechanics of the game. You can, if you're one to get motion sick. I'm not saying that you would, but I can see how someone could get really, really dizzy. Because
as a fair warning.
Yeah, because everything shifts around you. So 1 minute you're going straight, and then you make one turn, and then everything's upside down, and you're like, whoa, okay, I'm disoriented.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got to be cognizant of that at least, but it's still fun. I don't think it's that bad. I haven't gotten motion sick from it, but you can get disoriented.
Imagine it in VR. Oof.
That would be...
That would do it.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Because you'd be like, oh... The moment you went upside down.
The one time that happened to me in a game, like, I think it was VR chat too, so it wasn't even like a really great like VR game, but like in VR chat you can hop from like different rooms that people create for you to play in. Anyway, we went into one where you could step on this box and it would give you wings. And it took me forever to figure out, but once I finally got on it, I hit the joystick too early and I instantly went upside down and I threw that thing off of my face because it made me so sick. And I was just like, I'm going to have to hard shut down the game. Like, I can't make myself put the mask back on to try to straighten myself off. Like, that's how much it like threw my stomach like way up into my throat.
Wow.
Ugh. So I didn't know it was going to connect so fast. And accidentally leaned on that joystick and like, nope, can't do this. Gonna throw up right here.
Yeah, I mean, I love VR, but that's always the one thing that I'm worried about is that's going to happen.
I haven't had it too bad yet, but I haven't really dove into a game where it looks like that's like a mechanic where you'd be flying around or doing anything like that, in which case I'd probably have to extra considerations before or how I was playing that game.
Right.
So,
all right, let's get into the news for the week.
Let's do it.
First of all, we've actually got quite a bit compared to the last week where it's been kind of shallow in the news department.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing we're going to talk about today is cheating.
Oh, good.
Gamers have been doing it longer than Lance Armstrong has been cheating, right?
Right, I would...
I mean, when codes were available for us to use infinite ammo or God mode or whatever, we would instantly utilize them and put the smackdown on the games that have been beating us down. I mean, I remember so many times.
We used to buy something for a cheat.
Yeah.
Remember the genie?
The game genie, the game shark, the action replays. But in today's landscape, game cheats are seemingly frowned upon. We don't have the instruments to do that as much. PC gamers can mod and whatnot for their games. And even if there are cheat codes in a game, the implementation usually results in stuff like your achievements or your trophies being deactivated. And, in online games, it's, you get banned. And
right.
Last week...
When you're cheating in a single-player game, who cares? Like,
exactly.
You're just doing it to enhance your own experience. Yeah.
Now, last week, a competitive Fortnite player known as FaZe, is it FaZe or FaZe? FaZe.
I think it's FaZe.
FaZe Jarvis.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's part of that FaZe clan, which last I heard, I thought they were some shady folk, but we're not going to get into that. Anyway, FaZe Jarvis was permanently banned from Fortnite after he was caught using aimbots in videos that he had created. Now, if you don't know what an aimbot is, it's essentially a software tool that's used in FPS shooters that allow players to shoot enemies without really having to aim their weapon, thereby circumventing any need for skill. And if you really think about it, that lends some credibility to that magic bullet theory with the JFK assassination. But that's just my saying. But now...
You heard it here first, folks.
But once this news hit, there seemed to be a wave of controversy surrounding this decision. From Epic Games' standpoint, the use of this software violates the rules in Fortnite, and having video proof of him cheating allowed them to make a definitive decision based on the facts. Epic even issued a statement saying we have a zero-tolerance policy for the usage of cheat software. When people use aimbots and other cheat technologies to gain an unfair advantage, they ruin games for people who are playing fairly. However, many streamers and content creators have come out in defense of FaZe Jarvis, saying that the punishment doesn't quite fit the crime. With one such defendant was the popular YouTuber known as Fortnite Guy, pointed out that FaZe Jarvis was not only using aimbots in content creation and not during a competitive match, while pro players who have been caught cheating in tournaments only receive temporary bans, unlike his permanent ban. And then you've got Ninja himself even coming to his defense, saying that he believes cheating rules shouldn't affect content creators. Now, Ninja said, quote, "There's a difference between a content creator who has millions of subscribers who then gets banned from what makes him money and some kid who's just some piece of shit who has 0 followers, 0 money from gaming and hacks. You ban that kid and nothing happens. He just goes and makes a new account. He can't cheat anymore, but on that account, and he'll just go do it again. But you ban Jarvis, and then you're taking away his livelihood." So while he does admit that what he did, like, I guess, recording him cheating and posting it was kind of ridiculous for him to do. He also points out that other content creators like permanent douchebag Logan Paul walking away scot-free from punishment after filming a corpse hanging from a tree and showcasing on his channel got nothing but a slap on the wrist. So,
well, keep in mind those are two different companies too. I mean, that's a YouTube versus Epic's, kind of thing. So, but I see the point he was trying to make there, but that's two different companies enforcing different rules. But
right.
I know he's trying to point to a bigger dog and go, but see?
Yeah. So I do, like, when I first read about it, I was just like, yeah, but he cheated. But when you really start to dig into the details, it does seem extreme.
I feel like, yes, a punishment needed to happen.
Sure.
I feel permanent seems a little extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, a 17-year-old kid, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him.
No.
He messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Permanently just seems awfully harsh because I feel like we're just way too in this rabbit hole of instant canceling someone when they mess up one time. And I just feel like I've read a lot of people, yeah, but he cheated and he deserves it. This, that, or the. You're never going to allow him a chance to make it right.
Yeah.
Get forgiveness if that's something he wants. I just feel like we're just way too dangerous right now with instantly wanting to wreck someone down for one mistake. You're basically taking away any ability from any human to make any mistake and never be able to make amends for it. Now, I don't know the kid's frame of mind.
No.
I don't know if that's something he'd even want to do as far as like making amends, but I would imagine he's feeling pretty crappy right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if
that's my only point is I feel like we're just way too into this culture of you make one mistake and you're done. You get no second chances. You never get to redeem yourself. And what kind of message does that send to younger people? Like,
yeah, I mean, if this was his first, I mean, if he'd never been banned before, no temporaries or anything like that. Yeah, temporary. I mean, 3 strikes. I thought that was kind of a rule that we had where you give people chances. And I understand he violated their terms of service. I get that, but give him that slap on the wrist. Say you're temporarily banned because you violated terms of service. You do it again, and it's gonna be permanent. So you gave him one chance. You gave him a warning. So why not do that?
I disagree that just because he's a content creator, he should get special treatment.
Right.
But I do feel like permanent just seemed a little bit of a stretch. And I mean, I could see Epic just trying to make that as an example too, trying to make an example out of a bigger player. Like, look, but I would imagine that the one point that Ninja makes that's true is that as a content creator, it would be harder for them to just make a new account and be able to make content with it, because then you're just showing the world that, hey, I just worked around this whole situation, which is also not allowed.
Right.
But yeah, where you're just a regular Joe Schmo player to create another one. Yeah. So that would probably be the only point there. I feel like I know what he was trying to say. I just think he didn't phrase it quite well.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like it could have been less severe, and then maybe in time, should he do it again, then you say, all right, dude, you
if he was doing it simply to create content and not while there was, a tournament or something going on. I mean, I still get their point, though. You're still a detriment to somebody else's enjoyment of the game, regardless if you're making content or not, even if it was malicious or this, that, or the other. And I don't know, with him being young, I feel like this might have just been one of those things. These kids thought it was hilarious. They started making these videos. They put them up. And since it wasn't in a tournament fashion, they weren't thinking anything terrible. It was just like, this is hilarious because look at how frustrated we're getting this person, like a prank video or something. I've never watched his stuff, so if anything I'm saying isn't lining up, then I apologize. I'm just assuming what's going on in a 17-year-old kid's brain.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that develops, if anything should turn around, but something tells me Epic's going to stand their ground, much like Blizzard has been doing with Blitzchung, but we won't get into that now, will we?
Right.
Anyway, the next thing I've got I want to talk about is I know we've talked about this game before. It's been a while, but there was a game that came out sometime last year called Gris. I personally never had a chance to play it. I thought it was a gorgeous looking game. I think it delved kind of in the how you work through trauma was kind of the baseline.
Kind of, yeah. There was no dialogue. It's very, visual and pretty, almost like a poem as a video game kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, last week, the game's publisher, Devolver Digital, took note of an app that clearly ripped off the title and took to Twitter to publicly call them out with a tweet reading, "The fabulous app," which is at Get the Fabulous, ripped off Gris, and as a reminder to all devs to be mindful of big companies and brands stealing creative work from smaller studios. Now, this post was posted alongside a video that showed evidence clearly pointing out the similarities between the game and what this app was using in their system. The fabulous app in question was developed in 2013 as kind of a habit tracker. So how many hours did you sleep? How many steps did you walk? How do you maintain healthy lifestyles? Blah, 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 blah. Stuff like that. That's what it's meant for. So I'm not quite sure what they were using from the game. I mean, I saw the video, but I don't know how that pertained to the app, which I found to be odd.
I haven't seen the video, so I'm not sure. Okay.
Now, when we reached out for comment, the CEO of Fabulous said that no wrongdoing was intentional and an investigation was underway, and not long after pulling the video and looking into the matter did they unearth that one designer had in fact plagiarized the work of Gris and inserted it into the app. Now, there was no mention of what happened to that anonymous designer, but one would assume he was promptly fired. Additionally, the CEO of Fabulous took issue with Devolver's approach to the matter, saying that they did not appreciate their public shaming practice, which have, in turn, according to them, destroyed their company's reputation. He also pointed out that the company is not as big as they claimed them to be and are constantly struggling to grow, and something that this incident will hinder them from doing. Would you agree with that? Because I personally don't feel like I'm not going to look at the Fabulous app and be like, oh, those are the people who just ripped off. You said it was a designer. You pointed that there was someone rogue in your company.
It sounds like the app was around before.
Yeah.
Even?
So I don't feel like me personally, I'm not looking at this. I was like, okay, so you found the guy. Cool. Great. So I don't blame the company. I don't look at them and be like, they're a bunch of thieves. You know, Devolver saw a problem, and yeah, they could have probably went at it in a more private manner, but it doesn't matter. I don't look at, I'm not thinking of the Fabulous app. I didn't even know it existed until now. Nope. But I'm not thinking about it thinking, man, they're a bunch of thieves. It was just like, okay, you found the guy. There was a guy inside your company that was clearly not creative enough to be on your team.
Right.
You got rid of him. Good.
Yeah. You
Problem
did
solved.
your job. You did your end. Yeah.
So no worries, man. Just let it go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just.
Well, we don't live in that anymore, it seems.
Well, it's, I don't know. But we'll see how that goes if it develops beyond that, because I don't feel like it's as detrimental as they're making it out to be. I feel like they're kind of, look what you did to our company. It's like, yeah, but something happened, you know, so
just to bring more eyes to a thing, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
So it's fine. The other thing I've got is during an announcement showcasing the newly released Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighter Terry Bogard from the Fatal Fury series, director Masahiro Sakurai showcased additional characters that would be seen in the game as NPCs, meaning from Fatal Fury. And it's just like you're going to see them in the background. They might be assist trophies, whatever. However, there was one character from the series specifically noted as not being in the game, and that character was Shiranui, whatever you want to call it. You know what?
Let's just axe it from the game. I don't even know how to say it. No.
We'll just say it's May or Mai.
May.
Mai.
Yeah,
sure.
I'll
go with Mai. Mai from Fatal Fury. And if you're familiar with the series, you know who that character is. But anyway, the reason for her exclusion was no doubt because of her risque design that leaves little to the imagination, because she's one of those,
voluptuous ladies.
Voluptuous, scantily clad, designed
So we're not allowed to put clothes on her for the game?
Well, you'd think that would be the smart thing to do, but...
Like, here's a nice solution. Throw on a top. There you go.
That would be the way to go.
Put her in the game.
But Sakurai actually was quoted as saying, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is for good boys and girls of many different ages, so we decided not to feature her in the game. So please forgive us.
Okay.
I mean, so there you go. Don't worry that Super Smash Bros.
Good boys
is
and
get,
girls.
It's not going to get too risky for your kids if they play it. They're not going to see boobs flopping about.
Because we all know that's what was going to raise them wrong, Yeah.
And the last thing I've got, they've all seen them. Anyway, the last thing I've got is last week, Shuei Yoshida stepped down as president of Sony Interactive Entertainment's Worldwide Studios, which I thought he had already done, but maybe I was mistaken. But now he's officially...
I feel like now we just don't know anymore. It's
but
all these people shifting.
But he has officially stepped down, but he went on to head what is being called a newly formed initiative that will focus on nurturing external independent creators. So he's going to help bring indie games and help them build their structures and make sure that their games are everything they need to be, which is, that's good. That's honorable. In his stead, Sony appointed Herman Holst, who is was the managing director and co-founder of Guerrilla Games, known for titles like the Killzone series and one of Sony's biggest exclusives, Horizon Zero Dawn. President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, said of Holst that he is, quote, one of the most effective and well-respected leaders in the video game industry. He is a passionate advocate for the teams he leads and understands how to empower creative talent to build great experiences. I think that's a good choice. The man, their games are top quality, so I have no doubt that he will maintain that level of quality in running the company, so... Good. We'll see how that goes.
There we go. Yeah. Best of luck, man.
It's one of many shifts that seem to be going through the company, and we still have no idea what happened to Sean Layden since, he just kind of bounced and that was it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's well. And
yeah. I really feel like that there was something else going on there. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
see who breaks their silence first.
Yeah. All right. Let's do some quickets because I got a handful of those. Let's see here. What do we got? So first things first, while we're talking of Sony and Jim Ryan touted the PS5 as being extremely easy to code for designers and developers, and it will help publishers and developers create games with greater ease. And I think that's to kind of quell the fears, because I think the PlayStation 3 had a lot of development issues for designers and developers and things like that, and the PS4 wasn't as bad. And then they want to ensure it's getting so much better, and it's just going to be so easy and flawless. So there's that. Can I help you?
Well, good.
Not right now. Kids, man. They come in and Anyway, the next thing I've got is construction photos surfaced last week, giving people a glimpse at Universal Studios Japan's upcoming Super Nintendo Land design. Did you see those pictures?
Oh, I did not.
I'm really impressed. It looks like a Super Mario level of sorts. So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. So I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to look like in the end. So keep your eyes out. If you haven't looked those up, check it out. It's Super Nintendo Land construction. I know it's just construction photos, so it's not anything finished product, but still just seeing what the aesthetic is, it's really solid. Yeah. So I'm
looking
impressed.
At some of them now. I'm like, this is pretty cool, man.
Yeah. The Outer Worlds is coming to the Nintendo Switch in early 2020. So,
All right.
good for them. Good for them. Days Gone is getting an update that will add new bike accessories based on Death Stranding. One in particular design, which I found to be odd, and also I'm curious. Like, I want to check it out at the same time. There will be a gas tank design for your bike, and it has the BB. So it's like you have that little BB as your gas tank. So you see the little...
Why, though?
Why not?
I feel like that could have been a mod.
Yeah. So it looked kind of like
I guess since Days Gone's on PlayStation, but still.
Well, it looks like the BB is floating around in gasoline. So you're just like
filling in... I was just going to say, so you're just submerging the baby in gas?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I guess I don't really know what the baby's submerged in already. I think I just assumed...
You wouldn't assume it's gasoline.
Fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I've no idea. I've not looked into the game since it's released, so I don't know what's in the BB's tank.
I don't know. I'm still
having to carry around a baby that whole time's a little frightening to me.
Yeah. I'm still curious about that game. I heard another review today, and it was just, I understood where they were coming from, where they were saying it was from Jim Sterling, and he was saying that he respects that Kojima was able to make the game he wanted. But at the same time, a lot of the things that he added into the game felt self-serving to this idea versus what's best for the game. And I can kind of understand what he's trying to invoke there. So I still want to try it. Judge for myself.
Because, maybe one day.
Yeah. Maybe
this wasn't one that I knew I was hopping on right away. I think I was more intrigued at the whole process and kind of enamored with how the whole thing came to be more so than the game itself.
But you know what? Even if you don't want to play the game, if it's too much of a slog, didn't they say they had like a cinematic mode where you could just watch the entire story? So
sure.
Just do that.
I mean, I guess I could.
Yeah.
But I mean, how is that having a perspective on the actual game itself?
That's true.
Now we're just judging the story.
Right.
But either way.
Who knows? Hopefully, maybe they'll put it on PlayStation Plus at some point in a year or so, and I can just play it then.
There you go.
I think we talked about this, we didn't, but we're going to talk about it now. Even though Blizzard announced Overwatch 2, they don't know when it's going to come out.
Oh.
Which,
Well, we needed a shiny thing.
Exactly. This was, I think, goes back to what we were saying last week. This is a decoy announcement. They were just like, we need to announce something so people will just stop thinking about that other thing. Right. So
just drop some art, slap a 2 on it. Let's go.
Overwatch 2. Look, all the characters are back and they have new haircuts. They're different now.
What?
Oh, gosh. When's that going to come out? I don't know. Sometime.
Yeah. This is an idea, guys.
Mm-hmm. But it's happening. We just don't know when.
It's an idea we love.
It'll be
a good idea, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that works. And while we're talking about garbage, Fallout 76 new subscription service is apparently showcasing the worst in humanity. I don't know if you heard about this.
Oh, no, what now?
Class warfare. It has been reported that there are subscribers of the Fallout First program considering themselves better than and referring to non-subscribers as peasants. And acts of violence are being perpetrated against class.
I feel like I did hear a little bit about this.
Now, some people have argued that the creators of the subscriber group known as the aristocracy was meant to be satire. But I personally feel that in this day and age, most people don't understand satire. They felt like this was a way...
We've lost the ability to, really and truly.
So I feel like people saw this as like, hell yeah, I'm better. I'm going to go mess these little peasants up. And that's what they're doing.
Was it starting off as like a role-playing thing that maybe got out of hand? I don't know. Because like GTA 5 has a lot of role-playing groups and things like that. I'm wondering.
That's pretty much what it was meant to be. But then when you start looking at some of the threads and people messaging about peasants, it just you're like, I'm not really sure you're getting this.
So they are starting civil war in the game.
Mm-hmm. So, good. I'm glad that this is getting so much better. Anyway.
God damn it.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily Bethesda's fault.
No, but
it's
my
just
God.
the freaking people playing the game.
But one thing that they did, and it just continues to get worse every time we turn around. So,
Bethesda, what happened to you, man? What happened?
It's garbage. Anyway, Keanu Reeves apparently loved working on Cyberpunk 2077 so much that he doubled his commitment to the project, which I think might explain why he's now the face of the project.
Oh.
So he might have just had like a cameo, and he was like, no, I want to do more. And they're just like, all right, cool. It's you.
But we're all in romantic love with Keanu,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would put him as the face of the game. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, he's a selling point
we're in the
now.
weirdest timeline anyway. Let's just lean into it more.
Sure. Who left Twitch this week? Why?
Who knows?
That would be Fortnite streamer Jack Courage Dunlop, who apparently penned an exclusive deal with YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, who asked them to get in the race?
This has been interesting. I will admit, I have been reading, consuming, listening to just about everything going on in this whole little trifecta here, and it's fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
I mean, there's really not another streaming service that would get involved.
There's
with
Facebook Gaming, but we don't talk about them. No.
You wait and see.
I don't hear a whole lot about Facebook Gaming, but so I don't know if they're like, because they're the only ones that I don't think is like legit tried to like buy anyone or do anything to come over.
Right.
It seems like it's mostly like stream here. We can monetize off of you. Have a good day. You know, is kind of how I sit here and say all these things, never having once watched a Facebook Gaming Live. I'm not even sure how I would discover such a thing. Honestly, I'm on Facebook so rarely. Usually just when you remind me, you've tagged me in something, you know, that I need to go look. But yeah, it's fascinating to me right now.
Yeah.
It's a weird time.
I mean, you did kind of point that out. I forgot all about that's how much it matters, Facebook gaming. So I wouldn't be surprised within the next few weeks we're going to hear Facebook gaming nabbed so-and-so.
The only reason why is because I've been consuming so much media about it, because I've been trying to listen to other people's opinions on why they think this, that, or the other, and Facebook's been thrown in there a couple of times just in like a pie chart on who owns the largest chunk of the, well, it doesn't own, but where the biggest chunk of viewers are actually seated at. And I mean, listening to a lot of it, I mean, YouTube actually seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But with them, if they're going to work on their live streaming thing, this will be interesting to see. Because, I mean, if you think about it, YouTube is like your one-stop shop. All of your VODs get saved.
Yeah.
All the other content, it's all in one place. You're not having to throw your viewership around to Twitch or to Mixer and then create content on YouTube to be discovered. So yeah, if they really streamline that, I think they're going to be the ones to really contend with.
Yeah.
Outside of the other ones right now. So yeah, this will be interesting to see what happens.
For sure.
I'm in this, man.
Yeah,
I'm in it. I'm all about reading about this. This is fascinating to me.
It's a growing war. I'm interested to see how it goes and how it plays out. God of War director Corey Balrog expressed interest in seeing God of War on PC. I don't know if that's... I doubt it'll ever happen.
Some of its players.
But it would be interesting to see maybe what a PC could do with it. But then again,
but Sony...
But they could also...
all right, look.
They could also remaster it for the PS5, which is supposed to be like a PC...
Or they could be making a new one.
Or they could make a new one, which would be a smarter thing to do. So we'll see.
I feel like it's kind of revived. Maybe we'll see this back half trilogy kind of thing several years later.
They'll remaster it for the PlayStation 5. I bet money on it.
Without a doubt. I feel like almost all of the bigger ones over the last year or so, I would almost anticipate came out with a remaster in mind because they were so close to when the PS5 release date will be.
Yeah.
Even though I think we're still over a year out, but yeah.
Amazon obtained the streaming rights to the first season of the animated series Critical Role: The Legend of Vox Machina. I'm going to say that right this time. Which is based on the Twitch weekly series Critical Role, where voice actors play Dungeons and Dragons. And they also...
It's actually a really cool little show.
I've never checked it out. I think I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But Amazon also immediately ordered a second season to be put into production. So there you go. If you're a fan of that series, there's more coming. And
it's a fun little show. It's a unique little idea.
Yeah.
You should check it out.
And finally, it has been reported that Uncharted will begin filming early next year. And
we are moving forward. Okay.
Apparently. I'm just going to say, I realized upon reading this that I have no excitement for video game movies. And I feel like I should, but I don't.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we played them.
Yeah.
We've seen the story.
That's true.
Although, isn't this one still supposed to be before the first game or whatever? Like making Nathan Drake. So maybe this would be interesting since it isn't a story that we've already played through.
Well, I think I think it's boiling down to the fact that every time we hear of these movies, the approach seems to be so foreign to what the idea we feel like it should be as gamers, because we look at it and we're like, why aren't you just doing this? You know, like what we've talked about numerous times with the Monster Hunter movie coming up. It's just like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this one thing?
They could have hired Nathan Fillion to at least be involved, even if you weren't going to cast him.
Yeah. And
I mean, his fan film was great.
And then you've got...
Or his audition, whatever you want to call it.
And then you've got the Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming up, and it's just like, but why are you doing it this way? I mean, we live in an age where you don't need to bring these characters into the real world. Why do we continue to do this garbage like this?
Right.
Why do we have to tell this narrative like it doesn't exist here? Make it its own world. It's fantasy.
Yeah. You can get away with it.
Yes. We can get away with anything with the technology we have today in movies. Just embrace the worlds that these characters come from. And
you could probably find so much more you could do with this story by not limiting it to the real world.
Right. So,
like, I don't know, man.
And I'm not saying that's...
I'm telling you, it's just because they keep hiring these people who aren't fans of the games. I'm just going to stick by that. Like, they're 100% movie directors, and that's that, you know?
Right. And I'm not saying that that's what they're doing with Uncharted. Like, they're not saying, Uncharted doesn't exist. It's Nathan Drake's in the real world. Not like that. But there's just something inherently foreign to me about the approach they want to do. I don't know why. It just seems wrong to me, because I feel like Nathan Drake is a treasure hunter. I don't need to know how he became that. They told that in the games. Take me on a Nathan Drake adventure that we have not seen. I mean, don't replicate game 1, 2, 3, or 4. Pick a time period in between and just put him in that adventure. Go Indiana Jones style and put him in that adventure. Boom, done. You've got an Uncharted movie.
And they might. Do we have any real information outside of their doing young Nathan Drake?
We don't.
Yeah, so, I mean, they might. Maybe we should hold out a little hope. I don't know.
I mean, I like Tom Holland, but he's still...
I was going to say it's still him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I like the kid, but I'm still having a hard time getting Nathan Drake in my head when I think of him.
Well, who knows? I've learned my lesson. I'm never going to knock an actor for nothing until I see their performance at this point.
Yeah.
We were very sure of a few actors in the past that we went, what? All right, I'll eat my crow now. You know, so let's just see as far as that's concerned. I'm more concerned about the story and the writing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's an actor, let him act, and if he bombs at it, well, you know, but
no, I think he'll do fine.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I feel like somewhere in my head, I can't wrap my head around him being Nathan Drake. That's just all it really boils down to.
Well, we also didn't think Heath Ledger would be Joker. So I just hold on to that moment now where I'm like, all right, I'm not going to say a word anymore because that one, threw me for a loop Was not expecting it, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he's got something in his bag of tricks too.
That's true. All right, truth or trash. I have 2 little tidbits, and hopefully we'll get some information on these very soon so we can confirm, because we're etching to the end of the year, and we're going to be able to
Can you
see
believe that crap?
I know.
Almost middle of November. What the hell, man?
I know. But I've got a record. I've been keeping tabs on everything that we've been doing, so we're going to review it by the end of the year. How many did Lace get right? How many did she get wrong?
I hope it's a clean sweep.
I mean,
One way or the other.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I want it to be all right or all wrong. I want to hold that record.
Okay, so
I'll take either.
think hard, long and hard on these, because they're pretty solid.
All right.
First one. Dragon Age 4 will be announced on December 4th.
Why December 4th?
Well, 4.
That's the only thing that's going to throw me off, is I was like, what seems like an arbitrary date. Unless it has something to do with when the first one came out or something, and I'm just unaware. Well, we've already announced it, though, yeah? An E3.
Yeah, but not really.
I don't know if it was technically called Dragon Age 4, but we knew it was another Dragon Age game coming.
Kind of. It was kind of like, something's happening.
I mean, it definitely was no gameplay or nothing involved. It was more of a, hey, look, we did a cinematic to throw this name on it to let you know we're thinking about it. Sure.
Okay.
I don't know why December 4th. Like, is there a big game thing that I'm blanking out on that happens that week?
Not that I can think of, but again, 4.
Okay. All right. Sure. 12-4. I'm going to say yes because I knew we were working on one. So.
Okay. And the last one is Valve is developing an AR headset for Apple.
Ooh. Oh. I don't know why I want to say false or trash, because I feel like Apple would have plenty of money to do that on their own. And haven't they already created some stuff like that for business use, not necessarily consumer? Is it consumer?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So like Joe Schmo could buy it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's not going to cost $5,000?
Right.
I think I'm still going to say trash.
Okay.
I don't know why I could see needing Valve to step in with Apple money, but unless the index is just so much better than I've been hearing about, which I know is not AR, but still.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
All right.
There's your truth or trash.
That's my thought on it. I don't know if it's right.
We'll find out later this year. Okay, weird news. I've got a few little bits of weird news. They're fairly small, but why not? So, did you know that there's an avatar on PSN called the State of Anarchy Master of Mayhem Golden Prince Avatar?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You can buy it.
It's a mouthful.
Oh, it gets better, because you can buy this wonderful avatar right now for the low price of $100.
Why do I want an avatar that costs $100 on PSN?
Because it's gold.
But what? But so it's my icon.
Yeah,
and it's gold.
It's gold
for $100.
Gold.
Screw you.
Okay.
No.
I mean, it's gold.
I don't understand why I need this thing.
So you can show the peasants that you spent $100.
That I spent $100
to be better than them.
I can Photoshop my shit gold. All right, let's just do that.
I'm just saying. That's why you spend $100 to show peasants that you are better.
Mm-hmm. As I load up my Fallout 76 to go to war.
That's right. The next thing I've got is apparently Hideo Kojima tossed some faint political messages into Death Stranding, inspired in part to President Trump's demand for a wall and EU's blunder with Brexit. Speaking in an interview with the BBC, Kojima said, "In the game, we use bridges to connect things. but destroying those bridges can instantly turn them into walls. So bridges and walls are almost synonymous. That's one thing I'd like the players to think about in the game. After spending dozens of hours in the game, you will come back to the reality in the end. When you do, I want you to use what you've learned in the game. Connecting is one of those things.
Okay.
So you either build bridges or you build walls. I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's subtle. And, subtlety is not something that the world understands anymore.
No, and then now that they know, they're just going to get up in arms. Why are you throwing politics in my game?
Don't want my politics.
I didn't want to think about it. This is my escape, which is fair. Which is a fair argument. But I didn't know it was a thing until now, and now I'm mad about it.
Mm-hmm. They're not going to care. No one's going to
I would have not made that connection.
No.
Like, to that, anyway.
But I get the subtlety of it. It's clever, but...
And isn't the bridge a ladder?
Yes.
No? Who's played the game? Yeah?
I think it is. How does that become a wall?
Walls? I don't know.
Who knows?
It's his story, man. I'm just...
Yeah.
Anyway, I just figured that was because the old joke. Oh, build a wall? I'll just build a 32-foot ladder. 30-foot wall?
Would you like to try?
I'd buy that for $1.
Ooh, we don't get these that often.
No, because it's hard to find stuff anymore. Because
that's not going to make me sick from Bethesda.
No, luckily.
Oh.
No, because I think one of the reasons we get less and less of these because the only thing that seems to ever lend itself to merchandise anymore is Pokemon, because it's all the rage. There's always Pokemon stuff, and in this case, it's still Pokemon-related merch. So I usually pass on it if it's like, oh, look, it's a Pokemon Build-A-Bear. And I was like, yeah, but who cares? But however, there are times that, it's different enough that I'm like, you know what, that's kind of cool. So I think I could try to possibly pitch it to you and see if you might maybe want to take a look at this little thing.
All right.
So if I came to you and said, hey, you want to buy some Pikachu shoes? What would your first visual of this be?
I think of a house shoe, like a house slipper, where you're just like shoving your foot inside Pikachu. It's this big stuffed animal kind of thing is what I think of. Mm-hmm. Or the flip side, Converse, where it's just Pokemon all over a flat shoe.
Right. Well, the correct answer to that question would be
either of the things I said. Okay.
Yeah, the correct answer would be the design that was created by Glam and the Pokemon Company in a collaboration for the shoe.
Okay.
They first start off as a very standard design. They got a white top with yellow overlays tied together by white laces. There's a red tag on the side to match Pikachu's little red cheeks. There's a brown stripe down the back to kind of emulate his little brown stripes on the back. Yeah. It sounds basic. However, this pair of Pikachu shoes has a pair of Pikachu ears hidden behind the tongue. So you just kind of pull it out and then you can get little Pikachu ears. And then tucked away on the heel is a tail that you can pull out.
I was going to ask about a tail.
Yeah. So you can have the tail and the ears, and it looks like you're wearing, like you just skinned a Pikachu and put it all over your shoes and decorated your feet with its corpse. So why not?
I feel like that's your death on an escalator, but just,
I mean, you're not wrong. These are exclusive to Japan. However, they will ship internationally.
I knew they would be.
Yeah. But you can get them. They will ship internationally. Okay. So how much would you think people might be willing to pay for these carcass shoes?
Oh, my God. Japan is great. I'm just going to throw that out there.
They are.
Like, I truly, whether it's something I want or not, I always enjoy the news from there. Oh, my God. This could be like dirt cheap all the way up to the most stupid number I could imagine. I just feel like because people and Pokemon and exclusive things and FU money. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say what seems reasonable. Let's go $79.99.
Those are not going to get you those shoes. You're going to have to pay $250 before shipping.
And the shipping's probably like $60.
Yeah. So,
dude, get some like Air Jordans or something like insanely comfortable at that point.
I mean, we don't know how comfortable. These are made from authentic Pikachu carcasses.
It's made from, I was going to say, authentic Pokemon. And Pikachu is the fluffiest, right? Maybe not. I don't know. I could be making that up.
Maybe a Jigglypuff would have a little bit more cushion on it, but that's...
But do you get to pump the ears? Make Pikachu like...
Dude. Yes, they need to make Jigglypuff shoes with the Air Jordan things so you can puff them up. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Exactly. You're welcome.
Yeah, come on,
Japan,
people.
who makes this? I don't know the name of the Nintendo.
The Pokemon Company.
They're their official thing.
They're the Pokemon Company. They're owned by Nintendo, but it's still the Pokemon Company. They are their own thing.
I gotcha. All right.
Okay. So, so we're going to pass on those and go straight over to release dates.
Okay.
On November 11th, we have Romancing Saga 3 for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC, and The Mims Beginning for Nintendo Switch. Then on November 12th, hey, it's my wife's birthday. We have Bee Simulator for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Doctor Who, The Edge of Time for PlayStation 4 and PC. VR Ping Pong Pro. Ooh, that one's... Oh, yeah, man. That's a tongue twister. For PlayStation 4 and PC, there's a lot of P's in that. VR Ping Pong Pro PC, and I ruined that real quick trying to run through that. Super Street Racer for Nintendo Switch. Yaga for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. And Thief of Thieves Season 1 for Nintendo Switch. Then on November 13th, we have Last Labyrinth for PSVR and Spider Solitaire F for Xbox One. Then on November 14th, we have Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition for PC, The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets for PlayStation 4 and PC, Fractured Minds for Xbox One, Sparklight for Nintendo Switch and PC, Bee Simulator for PC, Rocket Wars for Nintendo Switch, Squidgy's Takeover for Nintendo Switch, Galactic Defense Squadron for Nintendo Switch, Labyrinth of the Witch for Nintendo Switch, Perils of Baking for Nintendo Switch, and Push the Crate for Nintendo Switch. There's a lot of games for the Switch.
I'm surprised you didn't just say, all these are for the Nintendo Switch.
I should have, but I didn't. And then on November 15th, the big games come out. We have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Pokemon Sword and Shield for Nintendo Switch. Tokyo Ghoul Recall to Exist for PlayStation 4 and PC. Sparklight for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Astroneer for PlayStation 4. Woven for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Mars Power Industries for Nintendo Switch. Volfaris for Xbox One. Tactical Mind 2 for Nintendo Switch. Tokyo Warfare Turbo for Xbox One. And Let's Sing 2020 for Nintendo Switch. Bleh. Ta-da.
There you go.
There you go. Time to play Name That Game. Okay, that's enough. So I have 4 today, only because digging through, it just got to a point where I was like, man, some of these, it's getting harder sometimes, because you look at these names and you're like, some of these sound interesting, and then you look at the game and you're like, but you're not giving me anything to work with here. So maybe I'm going to have to start doing a little bit more creative writing for some of these names and their titles to embellish them a lot more than
like
they're
getting
doing.
too basic now.
Yeah,
like,
because
how do I play off of this?
It's just like the game is called Booger, and you're just like, okay, what's it about? You just shoot stuff. Oh, okay. So that's it, and you just gave it a
so like
stupid
it's
name?
legit nothing to do with the actual game.
No, yeah.
Okay.
It's just
That's good. That's how you market.
yeah, it's terrible. So these, I felt like I did pretty good on what we got here. So first game.
All right.
In this game, you drive a truck through China.
Truck driving simulator.
Well, let me get there.
Sorry.
You-
One of these days I'm going to have it right. That's going to be amazing.
That's true, but not this time. You drive a truck through China. You drive it through weather changes, down thousands of kilometers of real sections of roads, across the mountains, past the lakes, through real cities and net red towns. I don't know what that is. I don't know what net red towns are. But
Communists?
they said that it's in there. With a real driving experience and nearly 100 landmarks to visit, experience China the way it should be, in a truck. Did you know that the specialties of different seasons are selling well? In fact, the hairy crabs will be listed in the markets in a few months.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either, but it was in the description, so I was like, all right.
Okay.
Good.
I guess I have to live in China.
Yeah. So, is this game A, truck life, B, truck driving, C, truck days, or D, Xi Jinping's delivery service?
I feel like D is you. Like, you're like, screw it, I give up. I'm just going to do this one. Truck. Oh, my God, they're all the same. Truck driver, truck delivery, truck what?
Truck life, truck driving, or truck days?
Truck life. Sure.
The answer is A, truck life.
All right.
Good job.
There you go. I was like, they all, I don't know.
Meh. Good. See, she's already starting off hot.
What up?
Okay. This next game, you've landed a job at the Resting Bean Cafe and Inn. Friendly co-workers in cute uniforms, great pay, it's like a dream come true. However, appearances can sometimes be deceiving. You quickly discover that the Resting Bean has its share of secrets. Teamed up with Sophie, you decide to investigate the mysterious happenings in the cafe, but it will prove harder to be a task. Let me try that again. It will prove to be a harder task. There you go. When your carnal desires seem to distract you at every turn.
Ooh.
Just what will you do? And what will you discover? And who will you trust? In over 4 chapters that can lead to 8 different endings, sex up 4 different characters in up to 3 different locations that all have their own sex features. Buy new
At a coffee shop?
at a coffee shop. I didn't say you leave the coffee shop. Buy new toys from the sassy clerk and caffeinate your sex today.
Ooh, all right.
It took a turn at some point, and I was like, "Why?"
It really did. Be a
it's-
barista at a sex shop. What?
So is this game? Is this game A, Project Cappuccino, B, Sex and Caffeine, C, Cunny Coffee, or D, BDSM Cafe?
Okay, what was C?
Cunny Coffee.
Cunny coffee. Okay. I heard it with a T and I went, ooh, oh, all right. Oh my God. Now I focused on that and I've totally forgotten what you said about the other ones. My brain zoned in on that.
Project Cappuccino, Sex and
Okay.
Caffeine, Cunny Coffee, or BDSM Cafe?
I'm going to go with sex and caffeine.
Answer is A, Project Cappuccino,
Damn it.
because that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That leads me to understand what the game is.
All right. The next game is weird. This game is a fast-paced first-person shooter all about a confused, half-naked, steroid-fueled man who could be Earth's last hope. The world is in chaos, and you must grab your shotgun, sharpen your machete, and take care of all threats, natural and supernatural. Find an array of upgradable weapons and use them to fight hordes of evil monsters, like unicorns, Bigfoot,
Wow.
and even Santa Claus.
Unicorns are evil?
Apparently. Tap in to your one and only superpower, a complete lack of morality, and save the world the only way you know how. bloodshed. Is this game...
Oh, that was the end.
Yeah. Is this game A, the filthy casual, B, the revolting gunman, C, the horrible hatchet man, or D, the disgusting slaughter man?
Ugh. A. Filthy casual.
Answer is D, the disgusting slaughter man.
Damn.
Psh, psh, exactly.
Psh.
This next one, let me tell you.
Oh, good.
In this game, you are competing in a brand new sport that already has its own World Federation competition. But what is this sport exactly? What does it involve? Well, it's all about mastering the art of squeezing metal poles between your legs and launching yourself into the air. You think that sounds...
Pole vaulting?
Well, you'd think, but no. You think that sounds easy? Well, it's not.
Not particularly.
Because you must also be aware of obstacles and incoming attacks for some reason. Because it's happening while you're doing this thing, and they will hinder your progress and prevent you from reaching the highest of heights. Play through multiple environments from snowy mountaintops to outer space.
Ooh.
Learn to master this niche technique and take your place as the best in the world. Is this game A, pole rider, B, thigh climbers, C, rod ramblers, or D, shaft lubers?
Oh my god. I don't think it's D, but I love it. Dare I say it's just A? Is it pole riders? I think I'm gonna go pole rider.
Answer is B, thigh climbers.
Thigh climbers, eh?
Yeah.
Well, that's just dumb.
That's what I thought too. But there you have it. Thigh climbers.
All right. Well, I got the first one. I
You
guess
did.
I can hold on to that.
All right. So this week, I felt like, I don't know if you heard any details about our experiment last week.
No, nobody said a thing to me, so I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, I don't either.
That could go either way.
I will say that my co-host from my other podcast, Kaiju Weekly, Travis Alexander, he did give some feedback. He really enjoyed it. Thought we were quite hilarious. So thank you.
Good.
Yeah, thank you, Travis, for your input, because that's what I wanted to know. So I was wanting to do it again, but since we didn't get any feedback, I was like, well, hold off. We will do it again, because I feel like regardless of what people thought, I enjoyed doing it. So
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this week, I felt like it would be fun to dig into another story, because 2 weeks ago, during our Halloween-themed episode, we spoke about some of our favorite memories involving scary games. And in that list of games, I mentioned a favorite of mine, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem, which released exclusively on the Nintendo GameCube. And while I would love to go into great detail about that game, since I feel like there should be enough information to kind of dig into it, should I choose to do so at some point, I thought I might shed some light onto why we've only seen one of those games and why we may never see another.
Oh, okay.
You see, the game was developed by a company known as Silicon Knights, and at one time, they seemed to have a promising career ahead of them. But then they made an epic mistake. That's a hint, you see.
Okay.
But before we get into that, let's go way back and get to know the company, because Silicon Knights was founded in 1992 by Dennis Dyack and established in St. Catharines, Canada. Their early work was developing PC games like Cyber Empires and Fantasy Empires, But their first major hit was in 1996 with Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, which was not only their last PC title, but their very first PlayStation title. The game was published under Crystal Dynamics, and development to this title led to one of the company's first corporate hurdles. With the game being such a hit, Crystal Dynamics, in association with Activision, quickly greenlit a sequel, much without Silicon Knights' knowledge.
Oh.
However, when Dyack did learn of this, he really had no interest in working with Crystal Dynamics on this project, because apparently they didn't have a great working relationship during the first one, so he kind of took a hard pass. Crystal Dynamics tried to develop the game on their own. Activision didn't seem to be all that thrilled with it, per se. So they did kind of go back to Dyack and be like, hey, do you think you can take a crack at this? And he kind of pitched a few things, and they weren't really sure which way they were going to go. And it turned into a big issue, because what Crystal Dynamics was working on was what was essentially released as Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. However, during this process, as they were trying to develop it, there was a lawsuit over ownership rights over the game, because Silicon Knights developed it originally, so they felt like, well, this is ours. But Crystal Dynamics said, yeah, but we're taking only this part of it, so we're going to do this, and we kind of own this because we published it. And so it just turned into a big pissing match trying to figure out who owned what. Eventually, Dyack actually tried to lean on the accusation of plagiarism, saying that the idea that he pitched to Activision for his version of the game was something that they actually stole and turned into Soul Reaver. But there didn't seem to be a lot of weight to that, so that really didn't lead anywhere. All legal matters were settled out of court. Silicon Knights actually just got a developer credit for Blood Omen in the game. So it was like, yeah, we'll pay you. You developed the start of it, but we're taking it from there. And it was later learned that Soul Reaver was never, ever a Silicon Knights concept, but in fact an unrelated project that was co-devised by designers Seth Karis, whom I couldn't find anything about, but the other name I thought was very notable, former Naughty Dog alum Amy Hennig, who wrote a lot of the Uncharted series and so on. So she was involved with that. She was part of this Soul Reaver project. But eventually, Silicon Knights walked away from the series, leading Crystal Dynamics and its new owner, Eidos, to rebrand the Blood Omen series into the Legacy of Kain series that we all know today, which I'm familiar with, but I don't think I've ever played it. But I know the name. However, it would seem that decision was not a bad one, because in 2000, Silicon Knights was signed by Nintendo to create exclusive games for their consoles. Now, at this time, the Nintendo 64 was in its heyday, so work began on Eternal Darkness for the N64. However, during production, Dyack felt that the game would be ideal as a launch title for Nintendo's upcoming GameCube, since it was maybe a year out at that point. So development shuffled, they restarted the project and started to build the game for the GameCube. However, the game never made it to launch. It was ran into some issues, which we will dig into. Now, despite that, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem released to impressive sales and near-perfect reviews. The game's success and wonderfully deep lore had fans clamoring for a sequel, which Dyack did express interest in doing. In fact, for years, Dyack promised and teased that a new game in the Eternal Darkness universe would happen, but it would always usually dissipate into rumors. So why would a popular game go so long without a sequel? It could have something to do with another title it was developing for over a decade, called Too Human. Are you familiar with that title?
No, I feel like I should be, though.
I don't think I ever saw it or played it, and it didn't look familiar to me when I looked into it. So, anyway, In what was supposed to be a PlayStation title back in 1999, Two Humans development was put on hold after Silicon Knights' deal with Nintendo went through. The game's development was slated to shift over to the GameCube. However, the company was heavily devoted to Eternal Darkness, and then soon after, an adaptation of Metal Gear The Twin Snakes for the GameCube. So they had to kind of put it on the back burner. It wasn't until Silicon Knights' deal with Nintendo ended that Two Human was given another chance when the company signed a deal with Microsoft in 2005. The game was meant to be released in the holiday season of 2006, but wouldn't be seen until August of 2008. With such a wide gap in projected and actual release dates, one might wonder what happened.
Yeah.
During the development, Silicon Knights were having issues with the game engine they were using, which was the Unreal Engine 3. They were using it to develop Two Human, they'd used it for a few other projects, and Dyack felt that the setbacks to their development were a result of the failure of the Unreal Engine. So he sought to sue the engine's developer, Epic Games. In July 2007, Silicon Knights filed a lawsuit claiming that Epic Games failed to provide a working game engine, which resulted in considerable losses for the company. The suit even alleged that Epic Games were sabotaging its licensees with their promise to provide a working version of their engine long overdue with insufficient documentation while withholding vital improvements. Additionally, Dyack accused Epic Games of using the licensing fees to fund their own games as opposed to funding the engine itself. 1 month later, Epic Games countersued Silicon Knights, pointing to the licensing agreement signed by the company, citing that they were well aware that the engine and certain features within it were still in development. Also, in signing that contract, Silicon Knights agreed that if the game engine was not meeting their standards, they were not allowed to modify the code to make it up to snuff. Epic Games alleged that Silicon Knights had made, quote, unauthorized use of Epic's licensed technology and had, quote, infringed and otherwise violated Epic's intellectual property rights, including Epic's copyrighted works, trade secrets, know-how, and confidential information by incorporating Unreal Engine 3 code into its own engine.
All right.
So, in May of 2012, which is a long stretch of time that this lawsuit went on, Epic Games won their countersuit, being awarded $4.45 million on grounds of copyright infringement, misappropriation of trade secrets, and breach of contract, plus attorney fees and costs. The presiding judge stated that Silicon Knights had, quote, deliberately and repeatedly copied thousands of lines of Epic Games' copyrighted code and then attempted to conceal its wrongdoing by removing Epic Games' copyright notices and disguising Epic Games' copyrighted code as Silicon Knights' own. And what got them caught is there were actual lines of code within the system that were nothing more than non-functional internal comments that Epic Game programmers left in there for themselves. And it was found.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, Silicon Knights were then ordered to destroy all game code derived from the Unreal Engine 3. They had to allow Epic Games to access the company's servers to ensure its removal and subsequently recall and destroy all unsold retail copies of Two Human and their very last game, X-Men Destiny, which was a failure unto itself beyond this, but we won't get into that.
Okay.
On May 16th, 2014, following this loss, Silicon Knights. I knew it was going to happen. Silicon Knights filed for bankruptcy. However, during this time, Dyack formed a new company known as Precursor Games, where Dyack attempted to kickstart Shadow of the Eternals. which is the sequel or next chapter of the Eternal saga, if you will. This transition actually happened before Silicon Knights officially dissolved, which put Precursor Games under scrutiny. People were wondering, well, wait a minute, aren't you the guy who owned this and now you're over here? And they're in trouble, and why are you... Like, they couldn't quite figure that out. So people were kind of watching closely, and then an article published by Kotaku came out and accused Dayak of embezzling funds, which quickly destroyed any hopes that the Kickstarter campaign was going to have. And just as quickly as it was founded, Precursor Games went under. Like that. So after a 1-2 punch like that, you'd think Dayak would pack it in. But oh no. Oh no. In that same year that he lost 2 companies, he started a third.
Sure.
Called Quantum Entanglement.
He's a big... He loves that, 2 steps back, 1 step forward.
Yeah. So he started Quantum Entanglement Entertainment Incorporated in 2014, the same year that he lost 2 companies, with the aim of restarting production on Shadow of the Eternals, as well as potentially expanding the IP into movies and television. Now, in less than 4 years, nothing came of this endeavor. Not a thing. And QEE shut down, leaving Shadow of the Eternals back into being out of development yet again. But wouldn't you know it, he started yet another company.
Well, I mean, he's persistent if he's nothing.
Yeah. This company is now known and still it's still running now, called Apocalypse Studios. And they run a free-to-play RPG called Dead House Sonata for the PC. So, after all this, I'm starting to see why, this game is not happening. And it's really disappointing to see that this series being tossed by the wayside in such a way. Even you can actually go online.
You can't say he didn't try, man.
Yeah, I'll give him that. He is persistent.
There's that.
I mean, you can actually look up development images of the game, and when you look at them, it gives you so much promise because you're like, there's that game. There's that game that's supposed to be coming out, and oh my God, I actually remember seeing when these images got published in magazines and whatnot. You're like, oh yes, it's finally happening, and of course, it never did because it's there, and then it just dissipates into rumors, and some things are never going to happen. So the game has so much promise. The series has so much promise, and I really feel like that they should hand that concept over to more competent people who could actually make it and make it happen and do it right and do it justice. But I feel like after looking through the history of this company and this man who's so persistent on not giving up, clearly when he fails time and time again, that seeing this sequel are very, very slim. And also at the same time, I feel like if we ever do get this sequel, if hell freezes over and it does happen, I feel like it's going to be a pale comparison of what should have been. And it won't live up to the hype that's in our head.
Yeah.
So... it's such a great game, it's such a great game, and I just...
Well, maybe it's good that it was just like that, and you have that fond memory, and maybe they would have ruined it. Look at it that way.
But I did learn something, and as I was doing research on this, which I find to be interesting, I don't really know what kind of process the fear idea that I told you about in Eternal Darkness, where the game messes with your head, that concept is copyrighted by Nintendo. They own that, so they could utilize it.
The ability to mess with your head in a video game.
Yeah, whatever the particular, I can't remember how they worded it specifically, but the idea of what that game can do, where it messes with your head, they made it very specific, or the name they gave it. It is something that is owned by Nintendo. Like, that concept is theirs.
Okay.
And yet, here it sits on a shelf, not being utilized, and it's disappointing because it's like, you own that, use it. So
It's like a catch and kill.
yeah,
I buy it to do nothing with it, but it's just simply so nobody else can.
yeah, probably. Plus, another little trivia fact about it all: Eternal Darkness was the very first, if not only, because I really can't think of another one, very first and possibly only M-rated game published by Nintendo.
That could very well be. That's not a habit of theirs.
No. So yeah,
Interesting.
there's a little story about why we may have never seen this game and may never see this game, because I enjoyed that game immensely, and I would love to see it, even if it was a remaster. I would love to see that, but I don't know if they would be able to do that because of this schmuck.
Right.
Because I feel like he is a
Damn.
schmuck.
And I kept finding people to work for him,
Yeah. So
which is interesting to me. Especially on like the fourth go round, to be like, you sure, dude?
Yeah.
You sure?
You really?
Like, who's this finance guy?
I know,
Like,
right?
Really?
Like,
We're
who's
doing
giving
this
him
again?
money to do
All right.
this? I don't know. But there's your story for the week. I'm sorry if it's disappointing, but I thought it was a fascinating tale nonetheless.
Yeah.
But that's our show. You can hit us up sometime via Twitter at SuperMegaCrash. You can also send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. Tell us if you like this story. Tell us if you liked our improv. Do things.
Right.
Tell us things. I'd love to hear from you.
I guess. Come on.
Come on. You can find us on Instagram to view our weekly icon art. You can support the show by pressing a like button, leaving reviews on your preferred platform, and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. And tell your friends to find us on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network, found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and even youtube.com/Pencil Paper Productions. Thank you so much for listening. I am Stephen White.
I'm Lacia Finley.
Join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then, game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.